A kind word, a helpful hand. Being nice is a good thing. Friendship is something shared, and in return, a smile it can bring. Book 32, Turn Bitter into Better. Fall break was over. We returned to school on Monday morning. As we entered homeroom, someone said, "Watch out for Miss Prynne, just a warning." After announcements, she slammed down one of her books. We all stared at her as she gave us nasty looks. During lunch, we saw her down the end of the hall talking on her phone. We headed toward her to say hello, but her gesture told us she wanted to be alone. "I wonder what's wrong," said Kevin. "She's usually cheerful and happy." "Lately," he continued, "her ways are bitter and snappy." After school, Kevin had to return to homeroom. He forgot his pack. Miss Prynne didn't see him. Her chair was turned and he saw only her back. He overheard the speakerphone. "The test results are back on your dog Ted." Then she put the phone down on the desk and lowered her head. Next day, some kids were whispering, "Miss Prynne looks stressed and tense." She shouted, "Pay attention, boys! I have no time for this nonsense!" Walking home that day, there was traffic. Cars were backed up for blocks. One driver was so impatient, he drove his car through the rocks. That night, we decided to take the pets for a walk. As we got to the corner house, the owner watched us like a hawk. He folded his arms and yelled, "Don't let those animals mess my yard!" Then he went in his house and slammed the door hard. "Gosh," said Wes, "I wonder what's wrong. He was always such a friendly man." Then it sounded like he was in his backyard kicking the garbage can. When we got to Wes's, we asked his mom why the man was bitter and mad. "Mr. Scott lost his job and has a family to feed. That's why he's angry and sad." Saturday at the donut shop, there was a customer, very crabby and bitter. She was screaming at the worker about her stale apple fritter. "I thought you baked these fresh every day," she yelled. "I want my money back." Then she spun around to leave and knocked the boxes off the rack. It's Sunday, and it's Wes's birthday. We had a special barbecue. As we ate birthday cake, Kaylin said, "I know what we can do. There's lots of leftovers. Let's bring some to Mr. Scott and his family." We rang the bell, not knowing his reaction. He took it willingly. As we were leaving Wes's house, on the doorstep we found a letter. It was from Mr. Scott, who said our kindness helped him feel better. He said he was sorry he yelled the other day. He's under a lot of stress. His daughter Bree colored a picture and wrote, "Happy birthday, Wes." Next day at school, Kevin saw a picture on Miss Prynne's desk of Ted. He pointed at it and told her, "I overheard what the doctor said." She hugged the picture and said, "He's overweight and his health isn't good. I don't have time each day to walk him around our neighborhood." At lunch, we talked about ways to help Miss Prynne feel better. We made a plan to take turns walking Ted, her Irish setter. Each of us picked our day. Weekends would be as a group to the park. Miss Prynne was so thankful that Ted would get to run and play and bark. After school, we stopped at Pets Plus to get Ted a healthier dog treat. We saw that crabby lady from the donut shop trying to cross the street. Suddenly, her bag ripped and her bottles rolled into the gutter. She slumped over, made some gestures, and began to mutter. Running over, we offered to give her a helping hand. It was quite a surprise when she answered, "That would be grand." We carried her things to Oak Apartments, where she lived in 101B. At the door, she asked, "Would you like some cookies and iced tea?" We thanked her, and as we sat eating, she had the biggest smile. "You kids made my day better," she said. "I haven't felt this nice in a while." She continued, "I recently moved here, and I'm all alone. I don't get visitors, no text, and no one calls on my phone." Saturday, as we all walked Ted, Kaylin raised her finger in the air. "OMG!" she shouted. "We have to tell Mr. Scott about the job fair." Chasing her down the street, Ted sure got his exercise. When Mr. Scott opened his door, Kaylin yelled, "Come on! We have a big surprise!" The Scott family followed us back as we noisily passed by 101B. Bessie, our new lady friend, heard the commotion and came out to see. She followed us to the clubhouse that had a sign posted on the door. It said, "Hiring responsible couple to run apartments, open 1 till 4. The whole group walked in, and it surprised the man behind the table. After the interview, he said, "I want to hire you both if you're able. Apartment 101A is for the landlords, and your rent will be free." "Thank you," said Mr. Scott. "Just one worry is we have no one to watch Bree." From the back of the line, Bessie shouted, "I live next door in 101B. May I offer my nanny service? What a pleasure it would be." Later, we looked back at the bitter times that life sends and how we can make it better with the help of our friends. The end.